Welcome in. Hi, Radek. Hi, Tom. We are
Welcome
waiting for
in.
everybody to join, so we just started it much before. Julia is also joining us as a panelist, and she will help us with the questions and all of that. Um, so, guys, how are things in ABM during all these crazy COVID and pandemic times? Okay, how are you guys doing? Radek, Tom?
I am doing well. I'm right now in a small hut in the middle of Poland during the so-called core retreat session when we are planning the next year.
Uh-huh.
So we are doing fine. Also, my pipeline is full of prospects, which I am not really sure how I will convert to commercial projects. So we can discuss that. Also, I would love to greet some people from my team, Tomek Stolarczyk, hello, and also people from my previous team, Greta Grace. Hello, Greta, nice to see you here. And also, in case
Nice.
anyone on the public, I think Anna Kovac, I think we met someday around. So hello, guys, nice to see you here.
Hey, guys. Just pop in, guys. Where are you guys joining from? Tom, what about you? Where are you from? I see you have this professional studio there.
Yes, I've got my Marantz mic and camera from here in Krakow. Yeah, I think that what's interesting I'm seeing with ABM, and I don't know if it's just the evolution of the sort of I'll call it a channel, the marketing channel, but or if it's a combination of that along with what the pandemic and the lack of events and live in-person networking, which has been such a core part of B2B sales, with that, essentially evaporating over the last 6 months. I'm seeing a lot of companies that are, have heard kind of know about ABM, and now they're just, they're kind of doing it, but, they without really, without the playbook. So I think it's a great time for this webinar, right? Because there's probably a lot of people on here who know,
Yeah.
we need to start doing this, but how do you do it?
I wanted to
What do you
say
see?
hi also to Darek Kociecki. I can see him here. Hello, Darek, my arch enemy from Neoteric.
Derek.
Um,
Hey, hi, Derek. Yeah.
if you
Great
need like
guy.
this, if you need a great company but not as cool as Netguru, go to Darek. He will help you.
So, guys, I want to go directly into the agenda and get started with this. We are full house. If others wants to join, we are going also live now. I just want to start the stream also on the other platforms. So on YouTube, you will have it. I will just share my screen and then go through the agenda and all of that. So, because we have a lot of stuff here, let's see. There you go. Okay. Just tell me if you see the deck actually. Can you see the deck?
Yep.
Perfect, perfect. Okay, great. So, guys, few things today. Today's agenda. I want to go a little bit through what is ABN and why is it effective. Start to understand a bit how to get started with ABM for small business and also big organization. Then go through targeting, segmenting, and engaging. Bit about tech stack and then Q&A. But what I know that a lot of you have a bunch of Zoom calls, and this is crazy times because most probably you have a lot of tabs open and so on. But if you want to get the best out of this discussion and the time that we put also in this preparing this great content, kindly be here and try to put things in action and be involved. Ask questions, participate in the poll, and so on. When I'm presenting, I will not able to see the questions and answers, so I will take those at the end. And my Radek and Tom, my panelists, will help me in replying to those. Now, on this webinar, what we will do, we will look at the more like a holistic way of B2B buying process. we will break down a bit the ABM framework, and we will get insights from Tom and also from Radek. And just know this is just like an aperitif for what is ABM, because it's a lot in the background. And after each section, just to set the expectation, guys, after each sections, I will just ask you if you want to go more into that topic on a one-to-one basis. Okay? Now, the speakers. We have 3 minutes for this. Guys, each 1 minute. Radek, Tom, then me. If you can just present yourself a bit. Radek.
So hello, nice to meet you all. I'm Radek Zaleski, partner at Netguru. We are a software and design consultancy. And last 5 years, I was doing something called growth. That is making sure that every person on the planet knows us and wants to be our client and or wants to work with us as an employee. That was the exact mission statement for my team. But I'm not doing this anymore. I will be focusing more on consulting our clients, and I'm doing since 30 days.
Cool. Thanks, Tom.
Hey, I am Tom from Los Angeles originally. Been a marketer for over 2 decades. Direct response focused. So all about sales funnels and conversion metrics. So I've worked for some mid-sized companies running market departments in the States. For the last few years, running my own digital marketing consultancy agency, and am now teaming up with Romeo and the team at Man Digital as a strategy partner consultant. And like I said earlier, a lot of my clients now, a lot of the work I'm doing is a lot of anyone who's B2B is talking ABM. So have a lot of experience in this world. So anxious for the webinar.
Thanks. My name is Romeo. I run here Man Digital, and I like to say I am sales by heart in a marketing body, because since I'm 19, I'm doing sales. I worked in software house first time when I was in university, but then I went in corpo, and now back in tech companies. And in the last 4 years, I work with B2B marketing, especially for technology companies, based here in Krakow. Now, let's move to the next. Who are you guys? So we presented ourselves. I will just pop up the pool. Just take your time, put in a few, tell us who you are. We are really interested in understanding if you run ABM programs before, if you, and then what describes you best, actually. And I just let it so that you guys can reply to this, and later on I will just put it up so we can understand. So we have a lot of people, guys, we have people who did ABM, but majority didn't do ABM before. And we have a lot of marketers. We have 36%, I see here, working in software houses and doing marketing. Cool. So thanks for that. Let me just share the results with you guys. I hope that now it popped up in your screen so we can understand who we are. We are a lot of marketeers here from software houses and in marketing team, CEOs, and few of them are from SaaS companies. Yeah. And in terms of size, we understand that we are like mid-size and small companies. Great. This really helps us a lot because we can customize our talk on that. So what is ABM at the end? Radek, what's ABM in your definition?
So I hope no one will kill me when I say this, but the ABM is a buzzword created by the companies behind the MarTech to sell you the basic idea of doing the B2B right. And so it's like a category creation. So basically companies like Demon-Base and others are using this as a way to sell you software, which maybe you just might not need. And the ABM, I really like someone wrote a book, I guess, on it. Is basically ABM is B2B. It's always been there. It's about giving people who are buyers a value out of your product or services in a meaningful way.
Thanks. Tom.
Yeah, for me, I'll take. I don't disagree 100% with that. I'll take a less cynical approach to ABM, but like when we're putting this together, the metaphor that popped into my head for this is, in a lot of B2B sales, if you've seen the movie Predator, right? I haven't seen it in a million years, but there's all these Marines in the jungle in Panama because it's the 80s, of course, so it's Panama, and the Predator's out there somewhere in the jungle. And they've just got every machine gun in the world. They've got all their technology, and they're just, it's just spray and pray approach to just like, I hope I hit something, right? Just, we spent all this money, we fired all these bullets, we must have hit something. And then you contrast that with the Predator, who's taken days, followed them around, knows what kind of cigarettes they smoke and all this, right? And then just, the 3 dots, 1 shot, and boom, the Predator's done. And so I think a lot of traditional B2B, it's just that spray and pray, do a bunch of stuff, call a bunch of people, send a bunch of emails, and hopefully you get a meeting. And the ABM, it's a little more like that sniper approach, take your time, more focused. That to me is what's at the heart of it, right? Whether or not it's a buzzword or whatever you want to call it. I think that's to me what it is.
I really like this definition, which says that it's actually an approach, right? That it's actually coordinates marketing and sales in focusing on some specific accounts. That's all about it, right? So it's like, okay, let's don't work in silos. Let's work together on a opening doors at some very specific accounts. And if you want to take it even forward, like, it's like just this flipping that traditional inbound approach, where what you do is that you create content, you create lead magnet, you want to capture it in a form, then you do some kind of nurturing through your automation, HubSpot, whatever, and then you segment them and you approach them. In ABM, it's a little bit flipped around, in which, and I think it's even before inbound marketing, is like the traditional marketing and sales, where you just identify the clients before, then you make those messages for the specific individuals or companies, and then you just build report with that. So that's in a nutshell. And if you want to take it in this blog and inbound comparison again, you have what HubSpot was, teaching us since 2008, like this inbound approach that you need to make a blog, you need to make an offer, scoring, nurture, and then sales. In ABM, it would be a bit different when you have very clear targeted account, and around them you create that content and those engagements that are needed. So I will go a little bit more in depth in the framework to understand even better. But if you want a resource on this, we wrote a blog. So this is the link, a blog post, going more in depth into that. But my biggest question always is why? Why should we do this approach? Why does it really matter? Is it really effective? So I just want to ask you guys again, Radek and Tom, like how do you see this in terms of the why?
So I will be speaking only from my experience at the current company. I do not have broader perspective. So treat all this with a grain of salt. My thesis is that this traditional inbound marketing is marvelous. It's magic. We grew the whole company based on this magic, but it has also, I would say, 3 main issues with it. Issue number 1 is you don't control your own fate. You are waiting basically to action to be taken by someone else. So, and I'd like to control my destiny. You can improve your chances, but you're not controlling your destiny. The second thing is, by the nature of a channel, the inbound marketing tactics is good for only some type of group of products and services. I call them super high intent, super pain type of services. And I'll give you an example. It works marvelously for things like web chats or simple development software or simple stuff that you have a clear need, very tangible effect, and you know what will be outcome. It is less good for complicated solutions like we offer at Netguru, or complicated consulting, where the outcome is not clear, what I am getting, what will happen. And I can compare to the agency of Tom and Romeo, right? So they are like highly sophisticated consultancies, and it's not give me one SEO expert, and it's super hard. It's difficult to run such agency without ABM. So that's that. And the third thing, I think it's also important to add. So in traditional inbound thingy, you rely a lot on external platforms and algorithms. There's a lot of talk about SEO or about how marketplaces work, and it's a lot of tactical, sometimes honestly cynical game, who is gaining more and what, less about the value added. And then if algos change, and for example, Google is changing algos very frequently, your company might be dead from 1 week to another if you do poorly. So I don't want to be on the whim of such algorithms. So the ABM is a basically solution to that. You control your own destiny by choosing the accounts. You define the value you are bringing because you need this value to be presented to be able to sell. And then you are the active part of it. You are doing stuff. So we are not waiting for the algorithms to be to work in your favors. So this is why I think it's needed.
Cool. Thanks, Radek.
Yeah, those are all great, and that your sense of control kind of really ties into my first point of why, which is you are actually able to know, you're pre-qualifying, right? So you know every conversation and every attempt you're going to make is a qualified prospect you want, versus, to your point, you're at the mercy of someone else who's going to fill out that form, who's going to download this content. I hope they're a good prospect. If you get a hold of someone, that they're qualified for you. So I think that's probably one of the biggest keys. And I guess I didn't quite, you articulated it better, the sense of control that I think I was kind of missing. So I thought that was important. And then I think what else is makes it effective is it sort of forces coordination, right? It forces you to coordinate your efforts externally with who you're talking to, you're researching, you're making sure that if you're doing it correctly, that people aren't stepping on other people's toes, as opposed to if you're not doing that, you could have 3 people trying to get inroads into a company and no one's talking to anyone else. Left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing. So it forces coordination both in your outbound prospecting and internally within the teams, right? You're kind of forcing your teams to communicate better by putting these efforts forth. And then I think one of the other elements of it that the final element that I think helps it work, if you really do it correctly, is you can make a prospect feel special, right? If you approach it in this way that, hey, we really love your company. We've done all this research. We kind of know all about you. We love what you've done here and there. And it's clear on that first interaction, like, oh, all right, this isn't somebody who's just, sent me some random form email. Like, they took the time, they know I'm the person to talk to, they reference this other person to the company, this other project we're working on. All right, yeah, I'll take a call with these guys, sure, because you're appealing to their vanity. So
and this takes me to some numbers when I was researching this, and I found this really great slide that talks about, okay, why ABM? First, ROI, like win rate, cost, and velocity. And here are just some statistics from different, companies, consulting companies, much smarter than us, like Forrest and Boston Consulting Group, and so on. And I really like this idea of velocity, because when we see faster, like marketing influencing faster on the pipeline growth, because what was all the time happening when we were doing inbound marketing services is that we were relying on sales, and this was the biggest mistake that we were doing in our consulting, because we couldn't prove very clear ROI. But now when we coordinate programs both with marketing and sales, we take, as you, Radek, said, our own destiny in our hands, right? So we can prove that. But in terms of use cases, we have, I just want to go through, better understand, if you're a small or mid-sized business, which majority of you are, I think it's excellent to start with B2B marketing, because you really focus on some quick wins and you have laser focus on your business expertise. And this is key. If you are in a bigger company, what happens is that you close those inbound lists quicker with those targeted accounts, and you can support the sales team in these ABM content, especially because you focus on special niche and markets. But I want to show you a bit the approach, the framework, so we can, start putting things in action. So we are using this framework, like identify, like understand who is our target and segment them, engage with them, activate, and then measure. So I want to go with you step by step through this, and then show you a little bit more, and then Radek and Tom will jump in for each of the sections. So first thing is to understand the identify. So we will look into segmentation of ABM, defining ICP, ideal customer profile, putting them into tiers, and looking at the approach that we can have. But before that, I want to understand a bit from you guys, if you do this kind of marketing segmentation, if you're having ICPs, just please answer the poll that is happening now, so we can better understand what's happening. So the questions are you using any kind of marketing segmentation methodology in your company? Do you have any defined ideal customer profile? Are you putting them this ideal customer profile into tiers? And this is the question. I will wait few seconds more, so you all you can answer, and we can better understand. Let's have 50% at least. Okay, we have 50%. I will stop it and show you the results. So we see that majority of you guys have some kind of market segmentation methodology, which is great, like 75% of you guys, and also ideal customer profile. But then you don't really put them in tiers, not all of you. So let's, thanks for that. It will really help us answer questions later on. But here is the ABM segmentation that we will use. And we would use this TAM, SAM, SOM, ICP. I know it's a lot of acronyms, but it's like, here is an example of a digital agency in doing pharmaceutical companies. So their total addressable or total available market are all kind of companies that do medical services, equipment, insurance, medical startups, and pharma. And then if they want to really understand what is the serviceable available market, like who they can service, they know that, okay, they are from Central Eastern Europe, so they want to focus on pharma industry in these activities. But then what is that obtainable market is anyone who is matching their ICP. And we will go later on how, just to show you how we build these ICPs. And then from this, you might get some strategic accounts. You might understand, okay, these are the 3-5 clusters, segments of 10-20 pharma companies we really want to hunt. These are the opportunities that we have, like in our pipeline, and this is our current customers. So when we segment, we need to choose our battles. We need to really understand, if I'm creating an ABM program, what segment am I creating it to? All my past customers and future customers? Is it only for those opportunities? Is it for like strategic accounts? We really need to understand to who we do it. And as soon as you understand that, you want to have this quadrant, and this Przemek from our team built it, and I really love it, because what he did is that he just put the very clearly what are those companies in terms of high budget and high maturity, and understand, okay, the sweet spot are not medical startups or medical services or medical devices, or those global pharma companies, right? So these who have a strategy definition already done. Now, if we have it very clear, then we go into ICP. And here we just did again an example of how we would work on it. And these are just elements, guys. Just in many cases, some of the things are already done. We need some of the, so it's not like a bulletproof, examples. I just want to show you elements of it. So here we have ICP, where we look at complete fit, workable, and absolutely no fit. Even the no fit, because many times we are neglecting that. So here we just look at, okay, from vertical to revenue to tech stack budgets. You guys know all this, but the point is to really understand who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. And then you put them in tiers, right? Again, tiers can be very different. This is just an example where you look at 3 different tiers. You look at industry, location, revenue, and technology. And then in some cases you even say, okay, how we will approach those. It's handpicked or it's just automated. And based on this, we just simply look at the approach. So are we making a one-to-many approach where we have hundreds of accounts and then we do light messaging, light personalization, and then content marketing strategies done like fulfilling those different clusters? Or am I doing a one-to-one approach where I highly invest in the business cases, very hyper personalized case studies only for those guys? And I saw a lot of this hyper personalization marketing activities from you guys at Netguru. So what's your take on that, on this ABM targeting? How do you guys approach it?
So what you've shown is very detailed and very sound plan, which I love. I just want to set expectations here. This is very good for mature company, which is well ahead or already well into the with core sales and marketing, but also ABM. So don't get overwhelmed. To the audience by all this. You can start simpler. And what was our approach? Basically, it was going backwards. And it was pretty simple. So we basically assessed what our current clients, what we've won, when, why, what was the industry. Then we took simple market signals, which industries we believe will be growing, which are impactful, which might be a good fit for us. I don't want to disclose too much of a criteria, but it wasn't that complicated process. And out of that, we built our initial target lists. And it wasn't that complicated, but by distinctions. But like, okay, so we have this 200 companies, and let's tier them now. That was basically the process. So it was much simpler at the very beginning. Later, we added those different flavors and still adding like, okay, so the company might be the ICP, but who exactly we're targeting in this company? This is a very important part, because you don't want to, you're attracting people, not companies. Even it's called account-based marketing, it is people inside the accounts in reality. So we focused mostly on that. And then, of course, there's always this, I would say, a tease that you can do all this, micro targeting and content to each persona, and to be very diligent. And for a founder like Romeo, I will be doing different content, but maybe a different content for his employee. Yeah, maybe if you are such a huge company, it will be. I guess it is, for me. It was quite difficult to achieve, honestly. So what we focused on is finding the biggest common denominators for accounts or the people inside the accounts. And I will give an example. So let's say we are targeting fintech industry, which is the industry really well known at, and we are working with. And inside this fintech industry, we have both different ICPs, enterprises, startups, scale-ups, fast-growing companies, and then we have different positions. Let's say people who are running products. So of course you can create a micro copy targeting campaign around and touch points around people who work with startups and are responsible for products and are from Germany. You can do that, but I would strongly suggest that you focus on the higher denominators, like all the product people. Usually they tend to have the same talking points. It does not matter if they work inside the company, is it UK or Germany, or big finance or small fintech companies. It doesn't matter. The product people talk the same stuff. So you can reuse that approach for all other product people in your different verticals or territories or other target companies that you're working on. And the same goes for verticalized content. Let's say we have a great fintech case study. This fintech case study will work pretty well for a huge corporation as well. So be effective about that. Do not sweat about the need to fulfill all that stuff, and also talk to your customers a lot to validate your thesis. So it is very easy to get swamped by all of this data. You start doing this targeting, prospecting. You're seeing the whole globe. Oh my God, it's 5,000 companies. How do I do that? It can be overwhelming because you try to think how you attack them, and then you overanalyze. Talk with your best clients. Ask for a referral. Show them a piece of ad content, webinar that you've created. Ask them if this is something they would like. If they would like, find the exact same people, and by that I mean position, the size of the company and the region, and these are your prospects. There is not a huge, sophistication around that. So if I'm seeing, again, Romeo, he's a founder of not a big digital marketing agency. He likes my webinar. Just invite 10 people who are just like Romeo. You will be very, very, very fine with it. Do not overthinking. So this is basically our approach. Again, especially for smaller organizations, it's easy to read all that stuff online, think you need to do this. Treat it as a guidance, not as a Bible to follow.
Cool. Thanks a lot. And then Tom, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I would agree with the analysis paralysis, right? With a lot of that can be overwhelming, and you dig down into the details and you just can sort of end up getting lost in it and discouraged and stop doing it. But I would say, and didn't surprise me to see the 75% when we did the poll of the people who have ICPs, but then when it comes to tiering, only about half the people were tiering. And that, like, if you're going to do anything, especially smaller mid-sized company, tiering, I would say that's the most critical, right? Understanding that it's going to help you just bucket people. It's going to help you prioritize. It's going to help you assign. It's going to help you focus. I was just talking to the client yesterday, going over this on a call. They had a whole master sheet of their, 1,000 or something target accounts. And, hadn't really given any thought yet to, all right, how are we prioritizing? How are we tiering them? And you'll actually find that it's not as simple as they're a SaaS company and you would think, okay, whoever has the most, potential seats is the best client. But for them, it actually wasn't really the case because, the bigger accounts have already some solutions in place. It's a much longer sales cycle, right? So, the bigger account isn't necessarily better. Don't tell that to a salesperson, right? But sometimes you're better off finding like that sweet spot. And that's what doing the tiering and the ICPing helps you do. It helps you find that sweet spot. And it's not always like the biggest apple on the tree necessarily, right? That you should be going after out of the gate. So yeah, tiering, that's my big takeaway from it if you're going to do anything.
Thanks, Tom. And guys, I'm also watching YouTube. So if you couldn't enter this webinar, I will also answer the questions in YouTube. So later on, when we go to questions, we have that. So now I know this is heavy stuff, and we are going one by one. So that's why me and Tom, we will jump into one-to-one calls for each and every framework. So I will just launch a poll here with the question: if you're interested in a one-to-one call, a 15 minutes get to know, just say yes or no, and then we will reach out to you. It's simple as that, and we can go a little bit more into what is actually the whole targeting, because there are a lot of stuff here that we can cover. So in terms of meanwhile you reply, we will go on with the tech stack. We have here few simple tools that I would suggest. First is the if you have basic stuff, just at least have Sales Navigator with LinkedIn and similar tech. Slintel, it's something like Zoom Info for sales intelligence, and just to better understand, okay, what are those actual companies that you guys want to target. Now, Radek, what do you guys use for in terms of prospecting?
So Sales Navigator, Zoom Info, other stuff, bespoke stuff internally. Um, Also, to be frank, so this stack research, it is kind of relevant, I guess, especially for smaller specialized software companies, consultancies. For us, it is not as important at this stage. So especially in the ABM approach, we are rather after corporate accounts or bigger companies where the stack is not part of a discussion or the angle of attack. This is not what we are after. And in terms of the needs that I think are crucial, so strongly suggest Sales Navigator just based on the fact that this is the best CRM in terms of freshness of data. So you have exact positions of the people that they fill out from themselves. So this is a major plus. Minus, not everyone is on LinkedIn, especially in German-speaking countries. This not might be the case, so please be aware. And Zoom Info. So with Zoom Info, you can get a full data enrichment and GDPR compliant. So you don't have to worry about having access to the data that you can grab via API. It's not the case with LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the walled garden. But then again, there are issues with Zoom Info, not really European focused, much more into the US. And all of that might change, especially in terms of the further GDPR cloud regulations. It might be proven not to be feasible in the future. But right now, we've tested, it works fine. The key, in my opinion, is your own CRM and how you operate it. Because one thing is the data publicly available, and other is stuff that you can tag internally and build the knowledge based upon it.
Definitely. Thanks. So just to go on a little bit into the engage again, we will show you bits and different things that we are using. Depending on the maturity level, you will use some of the things. So now just want to go a little bit into what we liked to do, and this is very important. At least even in our company, we do it all the time. Is the service market fit. I really want to understand, okay, what are the jobs to be done? If I'm selling to Radek, I really want to understand what is his jobs to be done, what are his alternatives, what options he have, what's the main pains, what the pain relievers, and this customer needs. You know all these things, guys, but it's super important because many times, as also Radek said and Tom, we just make some hypotheses and we don't talk to our customers. So we like to create this at the beginning of the engagement programs, so we can really understand it well. And this is something that I also did for our agency, because there are a bunch of agencies out there, and to really understand the positioning, like how do I position myself compared to other agencies. In this example, it's another company which is in ERP. on different features, right? Like for them, it was very important. Pricing, that the tool is codeless, usability, support, time to implement, and integration. And then I know where I stand, and I know where I need to push my pitch decks, right? Like someone like Netguru, of course, they would rank high at many of those things, but compared to other software houses. But in case of smaller organizations, we need to really understand what is the projects that we had before and what are those different high differentiators, because especially in this business, software houses or tech business, you have a huge competition, and positioning yourself out of the crowd is highly important. And then we will go into buyer personas. Again, this is just an example, but more to understand the roles, right? Like I really want to understand, okay, who is decision maker? Who is the influencer? Who are those guys who can get me into that company? And if I look at the org chart later on, here I just made up a org chart of Netguru in HubSpot. I can see, okay, who are the people within Netguru that I need to talk to so that I can close a deal with them, right? And then here, just a heat map, understand, are we talking with the right people? Are we talking with who are we neglecting? If it's a bigger account, like I'm working on closing Netguru for the last 1.5 years, and you can ask Radek about it. So the point is that, it's a long relationship, long-term relationship, and I really want to understand if I'm communicating with them. And again, this message metrics, maybe it's for bigger companies. Again, I just want to show you, so you have this material. If you decide to implement it or not is different story, but and this works a lot with bigger enterprise companies that you want to target, to really understand, okay, what is the buying process? So all this, identify the need, make the initial research criteria, so on, and then segment different people, and I have different topics for them. So that's maybe a more complex if you're a small company, but if you want to have a corporate, bigger company, definitely you need to segment how you talk with them. And this would be just a more complex, let's say, stakeholders that you have in the buying process, and what kind of needs they have, and what's their goal, and also what is the type of content you can create for them. And again, different type of content, not necessarily that you personalize for each one of them. And then what, I love charts, and I just want to see it in a map whenever I go out. So this is something that even we do with when we reach out to tech companies. I really want to know, okay, what are the flows? What do we do? Who does what? Just to better understand, okay, this is an implementation that we need to do in HubSpot. And this is very easy. It's just workflows and different sequences and landing pages at the end of the day that we set up in HubSpot. So Radek, again, kill it. How is the engagement? How do you feel about
it's a monster of a chart. It's a monster of a chart, Romeo.
Oh, it's not. I will
It's
share
a monster
it
of a
with
chart, Romeo. It killed me.
you.
This is why you're pestering me on LinkedIn every other day.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
the reason.
No,
Okay,
now I called you. I have your messenger.
Okay, that's okay. So now 2 touch points. Okay.
Yeah, we are going a different level. Like messenger is the next step.
The next step in the funnel.
I am uninstalling my WhatsApp. So this looks very professional again. So I want to set up expectations. So especially mid-size or smaller companies. This is the guidance. Don't think you need to have everything done.
Right.
You can leverage some of this, like the customer needs from different stages of user journey by single piece of content. So for example, if you can go back for a moment to 2 slides, not this one, Yeah, here we go. Right. So the previous one.
This one?
No,
Okay.
oh yeah, this one. Right. So these are touch points where people are asking, right? And you are seeing like impactful content is like emails, manual, testimonials. Yeah, that's all good. But also you can answer all of those questions using a rich FAQ page with a testimonials. And then you can create on this FAQ page a very simple qualification by asking a question: are you a executive? Are you a mid-level manager? Are you a single founder? And then navigate people to the right answers. And also such pages you can iterate on easily, because if you do all of that here, you will be quickly overwhelmed by the number of documents internally, and this will be hard to maintain. Trust me, I know what I'm saying because my Google Drive is total madness. So this would be my um, tip on that. And if you go back to this, uh, not this one, yeah, here. So this is really important, right? And this, I think it's worth stressing that this is really important to nail this, because especially if you are not talking with clients a lot and you are not a so-called active listener, so it's not only about participating but actually listening, taking notes, and taking action. This is a difference. You might be singing your song, being deaf person, to people who are not willing to listen because they don't care. So to give you some example, if you are going to talk with a person who is head of growth, such as me, on topics like SEO, branding, PPC, ABM, that's all good. But if you start to talk with a brand manager about your great idea for SEO new tactic, they will be like, right, I hate this shit. And this will be that, but there's a even worse part. Like if you approach engineering manager from the same company and you start the wrong topic, they will even don't understand you, because you live in a bubble and you presume you that everyone is speaking your language, your lingo, your jargon, but this is not necessarily the truth. So again, example, we are talking ABM here, content marketing, that kind of stuff. Try to talk with people from procurement. Sometimes
Like,
try to understand their language. They will have none of it. There will be zero interest in stacks, the technologies, the whatever. The questions will be like, well, what is the SLA model? What is your tax certificate? That kind of stuff. Are you ISO compliant? And this is completely different language. And if you're unable to have those conversations, especially with the big organizations, I would just don't start, honestly, because it will kill you the longer procurement process. So that's that, and also understanding the nuances between the team members. So especially this is mistake done by the companies at the earlier stages. Let's attack CEO because the CEO for sure will buy, or let's attack the C-level people. So the C-level people are not buyers. They are just signing off a budget that their teams come to them with proposals. I don't buy anything. I just sign off stuff that my team tells me. That's the reality. And on the other hand, please also remember that people have their professional but also personal agendas. So one thing for Radek is to get new deals. If you have some solution for it, I can listen and navigate to a person who might be interested from my team, and this will be the buyer. I will sign it off. But also I have a personal agenda. Do I like to be part of webinars? If I'm going to build my personal brand, what are my personal professional goals? Do I want to work in Silicon Valley in 3 weeks? This is also important, because if you don't understand that, it will be hard for you to understand your customer and serve them well. So to repeat, understand the audience, talk with clients, understand that no one is speaking your language, be active listener, and understand both business and personal goals of the people you're trying to approach.
So in a nutshell, it's humanize the whole sales process, right?
Yep.
And genuinely be interested in those people. Tom, tell
Yeah,
us in
I mean,
short your view on the
yeah,
engagement.
sure, because Radek really nailed it, right? And I think it's so much about knowing who you're talking to, and it's just always knowing it's customer empathy, right? It's like understanding what does this person really want, right? They don't want to be sold something. They want to buy something, and they want to buy something that's going to make their lives easier. And so I also like that point of they have their professional goals, but then personal goals, and it's not even, and it goes just beyond their personal goals. Personal has to do I want to do business with this person who's talking to me, right? Like, like that. So much of it is that personal connection. And I would say you can matrix that if you want to create like a super simple version of that matrix as like step one. It's who are my top three, of the personas I want to talk to. And then if you just distill down that buyer's journey to kind of like the HubSpot fundamental, awareness, consideration, and discovery, and just understand what are the key messages I have to say at each of these stages, because a lot of the times you live and breathe your company and you just kind of have this natural bias that other people kind of understand what you do and what you're about. And like, we would think ABM, everyone knows what ABM is. Let's just get going. But for some people on this webinar, you're in the awareness stage of like, okay, well, what kind of is ABM? And so you have to make sure that you've got messaging and content that's going to not only people will understand, but that they'll want to respond to. Just like a quick example off the top of my head, yesterday talking to someone who's got this great company, but it's sort of like a new technology. It's for call centers. It listens to for outbound sales calls and call centers, and it actually like it sentimentizes the conversation in real time, right? So the guy like shows us a demo of it, does this call with somebody, and it's you can see the translation happening real time. Like certain things are highlighted green for positive sentiment, red for negative sentiment. So like a sales manager or whoever, customer support manager, could get an alert. So the super cool cutting edge technology, right? But if and when this guy goes out to do account-based marketing, like this is so new, everyone's going to kind of be awareness, right? It goes back to Radek. You were sort of saying how sometimes for ABM, if you're selling something short sales cycle, it's kind of a commoditized widget, this type of easy to understand service, you can kind of, this outreach can be much, more effective than if you've got something that's a complex sales cycle, it's a complex idea, like, somebody's going to have to really, understand this new sophisticated technology. And so you've got to make sure your first touch is just, super simple and intriguing and not overwhelming.
Just want to, because we have two more frameworks, two more things here, and I'm aware of time, so I just really want to show you now a little bit about the activate, very very shortly, what we believe that you should definitely have, and also in measure. So the first thing is the one pager case studies, and this is just a form on how we would work with customers to build case studies for them, like a one pager. And these are some very clear questions that we would put out for those clients, so you can better understand and prepare for the sales guys very clear case studies, creating that sales battle card. So really have a one pager for the sales guys. So when they are in calls, in discovery calls, when they are in those conversations, they really understand your product, service, and the target accounts, the social proofs, all the main competitors, and all the case studies, and also have a very clear sales sequence mapping. So many times we feel that we need to make those sequences for the sales guys and give them as a guidance, so they can start implementing them. So this is, and I will just jump very fast to the measure, so then we can discuss both of the things with you guys. So the one thing that we all dream about is this chart, and it's not something that you can create in a few months. It's something that takes a bunch of time to do it, but this chart clearly gives you an understanding of, okay, what is that what is the total addressable market from these guys, how many I can actually address to, how they are divided into tiers, and what approach do I have for them, and then later on just understand the numbers. So how many I actually targeted. So here, how many engaged, how many accounts engaged with us, and how many are activated, meaning that they are sales ready leads. They are in the pipeline. They want to talk to us, and sales accepted these leads. So then we can have a monetary value on those pipelines, and what was the wins. So this is in a very short, in a nutshell, um, a chart that I think all marketers dream about, but it definitely takes time. So now I just want to go to you guys, both to Radek and to Tom, and talk a little bit about the activate and measure, because these are highly important to close deals, because till now we are just engaging and we are building the excitement around the content that we are building.
So yeah, so again, so this chart is very advanced one. And it would be very hard to measure this objectively. Most of those metrics are subjective, in my opinion. I know that a lot of systems, they sell the notion that you can automate this based on the fact of interactions, like, oh, they interacted with our ad 3 times, it is clearly they have the buy intent, that kind of stuff, or oh, they opened the email and click the CTA, clearly there's an interest, blah blah blah. So it's, you can try to automate it. At the very end, it always will be a subjective. So that's the one thing I want to be very frank about. The second thing, remember that the cookies are going away. Bye cookies. Everyone is using AdBlock, and you won't be able to measure this automatically. So it will be a lot of manual work. And in terms of what I am trying to measure, but honestly, I am not great at it. But what I'm always trying to measure in this funnel is basically, is this company aware of our existence? And then you can answer this question different way, like, did they see the ad, click the ad, converted somewhere? Then if this company and the people in this company that you want to work with, are they aware of what we're doing, what is our offering? And then you can answer to these questions in different ways, like, did they see our high intent page, case study, did they wrote an email about what we're doing, did we assert what we do on introduction call? Then the question is, okay, so they know we exist, that they know what we do they see a value in it? Because 9 out of 10 companies will say, yeah, that's nice, thank you, I don't want a pizza, I'm full, thank you. So they don't see the need for it, that's fine. But then you need to understand if they see need the right now or in the future, because some of the companies will never work with companies like ours, just based on the policy. So we need to market somewhere, like not vendor friendly, for example. And then let's have a happy path. Let's say they're interested. So then the question is, are the commercials understood? And the next step is clear that what the engagement would look like. So there's a clear buy intent. So again, do they know we exist? Do they know what we do? Do they think it is value for them? Are they willing to act upon? And I think this is very classic type of measuring stuff in terms of classic sales and marketing, classic framework. The trick is how to measure this in your internal systems and in your CRMs, and how to translate this into action, because it's honestly not easy. And some examples. So we are running a series of global events called disruption events, and we have a lot of different speakers and then people attending as similar as here. So if they talk with us and if we discuss who we are, do they really know what are our services? I had a lot of meetings in New York that they thought that we are an agency doing events and that we make money out of events. And I assume they know what we're doing, but it was a bad assumption. So you can create mistakes here, but then, okay, so how I market in the CRM? It's a manual work. right? So that's that. And then there is the issue about understanding, do they see value? So yeah, they see value that we are great outsourcing. Is it the value I want to sell now? Will the commercials work? No. Does the account is dead? No, this person doesn't see value. So maybe they never want inside this account. So it's not that easy as in on paper in real life, honestly. So be like take this uh, grain of salt to all of that, and to not try to chase this exact spreadsheet in your company. Be flexible around this.
Yeah, and just because we have very few few minutes, I don't know if Radek you can stay for Q&A, and if you guys have some questions, please put it in. I will also look into the YouTube and also here. Meanwhile, I will just, because I know there are a lot of things here, so again I will just pull out. If you want to again run in a 15-minute call with me and Tom on looking at this, measure, activate, and engage, and how we can help you in that for your organization, just pop in yes or no. Meanwhile, I will just look into the Q&A and see if you have questions. I will stop sharing and just look into the Q&A. So there is a question here from Rohit. Do you have any question, tools, software for intent data? Yeah, there's a question. Maybe Rohit, you can tell us a little bit more what you mean by intent data. I don't understand it
Are these
as
tools
for
like
now.
Bombora and similar? Is it this one?
Yeah, Rohit, if you can put it in the chat, just let us know. Guys, if you still have questions, you can put them there. Daniel here has a very long question, and I see, Radek, that you already summarized this. So Arthur, how about Sales Navigator for DACH market? Would you recommend something like that? So Radek, you say it's good. Kamil says Xing makes sense when you actually speak in German, but if not, don't use that. So guys, just pull in your questions. If you have any kind of end thoughts, guys. Radek, for software houses and tech companies, how should they approach ABM from a standpoint that small and mid-sized company? What do you suggest them as a final thought?
I would start at least trying to launch this very early on. I think it will bring results. Don't get worried if you don't see exact results, but it's more about training this muscle and be ready later on. And it's not about short term, but it's about long term. And even though if you don't see the immediate results in terms of getting the results out of the initial target list, but you will be seeing results in overall efficiency, in my opinion. So we've started the ABM program for initially at FinTech almost 4 years ago with Dariusz Kociecki, who is on this call. And since then, we saw some traction in terms of getting revenue out of the initial prospect list, but also we've seen huge traction out of the whole FinTech from various channels, which we cannot attribute, 100%. But then if you get the stories out of the clients, you will hear the messages like, yeah, you are great at FinTech. You guys are nailing it. You are the powerhouse. So you're getting this compound ROI, even if you cannot exactly tag it to those dashboards that Romeo shown. So I would start early. I wouldn't wait. That would be my advice. I need to finish. I have another meeting scheduled. Thank you for your time. It was great to talk, and I loved the charts and the whole presentation done by the Romeo and Tom. Thank you very much, and see you soon. Bye.
See you guys. We will reply to the answers as soon as possible. Take care. Bye bye.